Thank you very much for your insight. And it's becoming more and more clear for me. I'm not a person from the justice system. I'm a newscaster, a journalist. So I'm a citizen. So justice is all around me, all around each one of us. And it becomes clear for me now that when we speak about eJustice, that can mean several different things. How justice faces the new challenges provided by technology and how justice uses the new digital tools for its own purpose. So the world turns, and many think it already turned from physical to digital. Every day myself, I face several events that prove to me that the human natural senses, sight, touch, sound, taste, smell, they begin to fool ourselves because they become much useless nowadays. And the speed of change, the pace is dramatic. We are heading through the future at vortex speed in some aspects. No human being was prepared, advised, taught, or educated to know how to read and act or interact with the world we just created. As it happens in all previous revolutions in the history of mankind, the first approach to a dynamically changing environment is to deal with it with the tools we already know. That's what we have, after all. But sooner or later, we acknowledge that we need to develop more appropriate tools. The new nature of the new challenges demands it. At the beginning of the digital revolution, please let me share this with you. It's a short experience brought to life by MIT professor Nicholas Negroponte, probably you know. And that story, short story, exposed how the new world was already there 20 years ago. It's quite short. He was invited to visit a tech company somewhere in California or Seattle. When he arrived, a staff member asked if he was bringing some valuable items inside its briefcase. He said, yes, my laptop computer. Then, acting by the rules, the receptionist asked him to provide a value for the PC. He made a brief pause and answered something like this: $80 million. The receptionist got shocked. It's impossible. There's no computer worth such amount of money. Let me check it, please. She looked at it, noticed it was an HP or Dell laptop, quite usual at the time. And for insurance reasons, she decided the value of it. Sir, I'll write down $1,000 just in case something goes wrong while you're visiting our facilities and we need to compensate you for the loss. He smiled, confirming to himself how the world had already changed. The machine, the physical computer, was what the receptionist saw, but the most valuable thing were the writings, the researches, the notes, the thinkings, the contacts that Professor Negroponte had within. And in a strictly physical world, the weight and the dimensions of the computer were absolutely the same for both observers. They were looking at the same thing, but they were decades apart. It was the beginning of the most dramatic and still invisible revolution ever, from atoms to bytes, from the physical sensitive world to the era of code, algorithms, AI, machine learning, robotics, a real new cosmos where people and things began to relate in totally different way. We are newborns, after all, that's the good news. The bad news is that this story happened 20 years ago, and I guess that a few are taking some kind of advantage. I rest my case here, and please, I want you to join me welcoming the European Commissioner for Justice, Didier Reynders, to take the stand. Good morning.
Thank you, and thank you for your case about, in fact, AI and maybe the evolution that we have seen since 2 decades on AI, maybe from this visit in Seattle or in California, I don't know, and to this conference today. I want also to first thank the Minister Francisca van Doenen for organizing this conference and on putting people at the center of digital justice. And I want also to thank Christine and Iliana for their contributions. Debates about the benefits of using modern technology and innovation in the justice area has dominated agendas over the last years. But the COVID-19 crisis has pushed the digitalization of justice under the spotlight. eJustice has become the new normal. The question is not, do we need it? Rather, how can we best use the technology? How can we best address the evolving needs of citizens and businesses in the justice area? First, the technology should serve citizens and help to improve justice systems while fully respecting citizens' fundamental rights. Second, technology and innovation have great potential to support and enhance access to justice. Innovative technology could help citizens overcome barriers like distance, frontiers, or sanitary measures. So often, these barriers deter citizens from seeking redress. Third, technology is essential for modern and effective justice systems, as it can reduce procedural delays, bureaucracy, and costs. But the digitalization of justice does come with challenges. When we design, implement, and use IT solutions, we must make sure that everyone has equal access to justice. We have to provide for the needs of persons with disabilities, of victims of crimes, of children, and of the elderly. The use of IT tools should ultimately result in greater inclusiveness, not less. One of my biggest concerns with the advent of technology is avoiding the widening digital divide. This means that modernizing the justice systems alone is not sufficient. We must also think about how best to educate, empower, engage, and enable users of justice-related IT tools so that they can actually exercise their rights. Member States and the European Commission have been diligently working on the digital transformation of justice over the last 10 years. And we have achieved a lot, but further progress is necessary at both EU and national level. Last December, the Commission presented its vision on the future of digitalization of justice. Our communication proposes a toolbox of financial, IT, and legal tools to accompany this transformation process. Financial support for digitalization of justice is available under the Recovery and Resilience Facility. It is also available under the new cohesion policy instruments and the justice and digital programs. Concerning IT tools, they are reliable video conferencing systems. We all experienced the importance of such basic tools during the pandemic crisis and again today. To allow such systems to reach their full potential for cross-border judicial cooperation, they have to be both user-friendly and secure. That is why we included several important legislative initiatives in our communication. Firstly, we tabled a proposal for ensuring the sustainable management of the e-Codex system. E-Codex is the key building block for secure electronic data exchanges between authorities cooperating across borders in EU judicial procedures. It already powers the e-evidence digital exchange system, and it will be the technical solution underpinning the digitalization of the new rules on service of documents and talking of evidence in civil and commercial matters. Second, one of our flagship initiatives that we are still planning for this year is the digitalization of EU cross-border judicial cooperation. We will propose a fast, secure, and reliable digital channel of communication between judicial and other competent authorities. Citizens and businesses will, of course, also benefit from having an electronic communication channel with the competent national authorities. We need to ensure that all member states consistently and fully recognize documents and evidence in digital form, as well as electronic signatures and seals. If we manage to achieve this, we can take a major step towards modernizing EU cross-border judicial cooperation. As this conference is about people-centered eJustice, I would also like to add a few words on artificial intelligence after your introduction with your case during the presentation. AI-powered applications in the justice field are becoming increasingly relevant. Such technologies can certainly contribute to improving the effectiveness of the justice systems. But certain uses of such applications raise legitimate concerns. This is, for example, the case for machine learning applications used in the decision-making process, which could potentially reinforce existing biases. Fears also remain that AI applications could directly or indirectly interfere with the decision-making prerogative of judges. A few days ago, on 21st of April, the Commission tabled new rules for AI technology that address these fears and concerns by putting people first. We want the EU to achieve excellence in artificial intelligence for it to compete globally. But we also want to encourage uptake of the technology by developing trust. Justice systems are among a number of areas where high risks may occur. The use of facial recognition, for example, in law enforcement, is another risky area. The Commission's new proposal will ensure that high-risk and black box applications comply with fundamental rights and safety rules. The EU already has AI-relevant rules protecting fundamental rights, including personal data, privacy, and non-discrimination. There are also AI-relevant laws on the functioning of law enforcement authorities. Our new rules for AI technology also require appropriate documentation and testing. We want to make sure that national authorities and courts can investigate and address breaches of fundamental rights. We have also set requirements for checking the quality of the data sets, for machine learning applications, for example, to ensure adequate human oversight and reliability and accuracy of the systems. We are also empowering supervisory authorities so that they can team up with experts to test and ascertain the legality of AI systems within their remit. Certainly, you have plenty to think about in the next 2 days. No doubt there will be some highly interesting discussions. Above all, I hope that you share my enthusiasm about the potential for the justice systems of tomorrow. In this spirit, of course, I wish you a stimulating and productive conference. It will be a pleasure to listen about other cases, maybe from the past, but also about some visions for the future, because again, the digital transition was a priority before the pandemic. It was very evident during the pandemic that we need to use digital tools. Now we need to continue to invest in digital tools and IT systems, but we need also to do that with a full respect for fundamental rights, democracy, and the rule of law. So thank you very much for your attention this morning, but also thank you for your work during the 2 next days. We'll take many of your remarks on board for the future discussions.